Hello, my soul family. I'm just cracking myself up because I'm trying to find a peaceful time to make this video where it's quiet around here, which is nearly impossible. So I think it's around 11 tonight, somewhere around there. I don't even know. And I finally got it. It's quiet. And I'm like hearing this weird noise, and it's my dog snoring. So if you hear that throughout the video, that's what it is. She's over there sleeping and she's snoring. I was going to do a video on body chemistry, which is very important and a lot of valuable information about how to keep your body chemistry stabilized, therefore to help you minimize depression, anxiety, feelings of negativity, and be able to connect up with your soul more. But while I was taking my bath this evening, early evening, and that was my soul time, and I was having my little soul talk and talk with God, I was led more to do one on validation. So I'm hoping that this resonates with some of you out there, and that's why I was kind of led in this direction to do this video tonight. I don't really have anything that helps me pick a topic other than what'll ever come to me before I go to do the video. Or once in a while, if I'm going through something, I might do a video about it just to keep myself in check or to remind myself of what I need to be doing. Because like I said, this is all a practice. This is not something that, as soon as you get the information, that you're able to change your thinking, you're able to change the wiring in your brain. It's something that takes time and practice. So you'll hear me say a lot of the same things over and over as well, because I want to drill them in to your brain to where you don't forget them. But anyways, so the topic that I was given tonight from my soul was validation. And I looked up a definition that applies to kind of what we're talking about here tonight. Validation is the recognition or affirmation that a person or their feelings or opinions are valid and worthwhile. So I thought that definition fitted well with what we're going to talk about tonight. Where do we find validation in this world? There's so many places. We get it from spouses, parents, from bosses, from children, from friends, sometimes you can get it from strangers. If somebody comes up and says or does something nice, it might validate you and make you feel like you're worthwhile. And that's all great and wonderful. But we have to know that we cannot rely on anyone to validate us on a regular basis or constant, because no matter who it is, how close you are with them, they're going to have a time when they're not going to be able to validate us. If they're having a bad day or they're having something go on, they might say something hurtful or cut you down, act like your feelings don't matter or your opinions aren't good. For example, parents, from my years of working with clients, it's become apparent to me that parents they're dream killers. They are the first ones that as soon as you start telling them, opening up and being vulnerable and telling them what your biggest dreams and, your wildest imaginations could take you to, they're the first ones they'll say, "That's nice, honey, but why don't you do this instead?" Now, they don't do that because they really want to kill our dreams. They do that because they want us to be safe and they want us to have this nice little safe job that, it's going to pay our bills. So we're not moving back in with them or whatever. Same with children. Sometimes your children can validate you and other times they can make you feel like kind of shitty. And I would say that goes for spouses and friends, even really good friends. Could be subconsciously jealous of maybe something you have planned, or doing because maybe they're not doing enough for themselves, and they might try to cut you down or invalidate something that you're feeling or an idea that you have. So, although it's okay to accept validation when we get it from others, it's very important to recognize that that's not where it really should come from on a regular basis. It needs to come from us. And it's not going to come from your mind, because our minds have been convoluted with negative thinking patterns from our childhood on up. So it has to come from our soul and our heart. That's where we have to validate ourselves. And we've all been there from one time to another, where we were feeling the power. I'm sure we have been, where something just went really well and we're like, we got this. And I mean, it could be something as simple as, you passed your driver's test, to you did really good on a test in school, to you got a job you want. You felt like a conversation went really good that you had with someone. So there's just lots of times, if you think back in your life, there's something that brought you validation from you, from within. And you're like, good. And I mean, hopefully there is. If there isn't, then you really need to start working on that. But I would think for most people, there's probably been a time where they were able to validate themselves. Now, unfortunately, because our mind is such a complicated organ, it does a lot more invalidating than it does validating. And when I've talked to people, what I found out is that the negative talk in our mind way outweighs the positives. And when we do get that little glimpse of our soul, of the limitless possibilities that are out there for us, because they are, what we're worth, which we're all worth. There isn't a human being that isn't worth it all. Whether our opinions are valid or worthwhile, yes, they are. Even if they're misguided, that doesn't mean they're not valuable and they're worthwhile, because they can teach us a lesson. So we have to find that part that's validated us on different occasions when we've been able to do something well, and start to really focus in on that. Start coming from that place. Learning to let go of that critical voice that's telling you you can't do this, or this relationship isn't working out because of something that you've done. Now, I'm not saying every time someone says something negative to you that, they don't ever have a point. You might have to check yourself and go, okay, did I do anything to deserve that? Did I say anything? But there'll be sometimes when you'll check yourself and you didn't. And you were just trying to be caring, or you were just trying to be, either you were misinterpreted, or possibly, the other person had shit going on that day. And so they weren't able to process how you were being. They were reflecting their negativity from the day onto you, which happens all the time. If somebody goes to work, and their boss is really mean to them all day, and then they come home and their spouse is, there waiting lovingly, and they've had a really bad day, they might come in and just kind of bite at you for no reason. So what I want you to do is to start learning to validate yourself, because if we totally look for that in other people, and I think that's one of the biggest faults that us human beings have, is that we're always looking and checking to others. Are we okay? Is that idea stupid? Is even this, for instance, I'm new at this. I feel it in my soul. I should be doing this. But if I let my critical mind think about it too much, first of all, I don't even take good pictures. So I can't even believe that I'm videotaping myself and putting it on YouTube. Because if anybody take a picture of me and want to put it on Facebook, I'd be like, hell no. Don't put that up. I mean, I hardly have any pictures of myself because that's how much I hate myself on photos. But I was drawn to do this. So I have to validate myself. And matter of fact, I'm kind of keeping it secret from my family and friends at this time because I don't want their criticism or something that, even if it's constructive at this point, coming in and kind of tearing away at my self-esteem that maybe I'm not capable of this or that my information isn't good enough. But I know in my soul that I have a lot to share and I want to share it. And it helps me. So you guys help me feel validated. You guys help me have a sense of self-worth right now because I'm able to hopefully send some information across that can be helpful to you. So, we got to learn to know that we are worth something and that we're not perfect. You'll hear me say that a million times too, because none of my videos will ever be perfect. And I'm not even going to try to edit them and make them perfect. I do try to, work on my presentation and things to get a little better each time. But there is no such thing as perfection. So we can't seek perfection, but we have to validate ourselves where we're at. We have to meet ourselves where we're at. So right now, for instance, I'm new at this. I feel like the information I've had for a long time, some of it's newer because we're always learning, we're always adding into what we know. But I'm meeting myself where I'm at. My expectations aren't huge because I'm practicing, but I also know that if I practice and I edit a little bit at a time and we'll get better, that I do have something valuable to share, just as each and every one of you have something valuable to share in this world, or you wouldn't be here if you didn't. Now, you might not know what that is right now, and that's okay, and you don't need to know what it is. But if you can quiet yourself and listen to your soul, it can start leading you into the right directions. And sometimes even by going in wrong directions or right relationships. And sometimes by going into wrong relationships, that's how we find out what we really need and what we don't want. We got to know what we don't want before we can figure out what we want. And then that goes in relationships and jobs, careers, even lifestyles. If you would have asked me, 10 years ago, I would have put a lot more value on having money than I do today, because so many things have happened in my life where that's really come down on my priority list. So, and I'm kind of taking this off, and I will do this. Anybody that knows me personally knows that I go off on little tangents, and that's okay, because sometimes when I just go off, there might be something in that little tangent that could be valuable. But to get back to the main topic, which is validation, I'm going to challenge you to be open to listening to that soul, which is so loving to you, which knows that you deserve happiness. It knows that you deserve a good relationship. It knows that you are limitless in your abilities when you find your passion, when you find what your soul was here to do. And when I say what your soul is here to do, that's not one thing. I can guarantee you that is not one thing. There's many paths in this life of what your soul is here to do. And if you are in between something right now, a relationship, a job, or even in a relationship or a job where you're not sure that that's it. That's okay, because it's really, the journey is really what's it and what we learn. It's not the destination. I mean, destination's good for a little bit. But what I found is usually when we get to the destination, we get to the finish line of something, we're bored. And then we want to see what else is out there. I mean, hopefully not necessarily in relationships, but in other paths in life. So if you're in between, know that that's where you're supposed to be right now. And validate yourself in that. And be okay with it. And be like, okay, I'm not exactly here yet, but I've learned this, and I know I don't want this. You know, as long as you're kind of like editing as you're going along, you're doing good. So my challenge is to go within your soul, your quiet time. Find that little part that loves you. It's there. It's there. Sometimes you can't hear it because of all this crap going on, or all this crap going on from other people, you know. And when other people hurt us, whether it's somebody close to us or somebody we don't even know, somebody, you know, that maybe we're just out and about in the world and they're rude, which can invalidate you. If you're out just doing your own business and somebody's really rude to you, that can make you feel less than and start questioning your self-worth. But what's going on is if somebody's hurting you and there's no reason, I mean, you know, like you checked yourself and you didn't do anything to deserve that, then that's on them. That shit's on them, because they have something that they're lacking that day. And that's the same for us. If we're hurting others, if you think about it, anytime that you actively struck out to hurt someone, which I think we all done as well, because again, no perfection here, it was usually your own deficit, meaning you were hurt about something, so you struck back. You were sad about something, so you struck back, or you were angry about something, and sometimes and you struck back. So know that when people aren't validating us, you know, once in a while it'll be okay, somebody says something and maybe we did something wrong, we need to apologize and we need to check ourselves. But I can guarantee you a good portion of it, if you're trying to be the best person you can be, then it's their deficit of why they're invalidating you. And when you can realize that and learn to validate yourself, that's when the world opens up to you in a whole brand new way that you never expected. So anybody that is out there listening to this and is feeling invalidated in different parts of their life, whether it be a boss, a spouse, a child, a parent, a friend, or just in general, or themselves, invalidating themselves, I want you to reevaluate, reassess, and know that you are worth it. And you do deserve it all. You deserve it all. Again, not perfection, but you deserve it all. Okay. So I hope this made sense. Sometimes I feel like I'm rambling, but I hope you guys follow me. Thank you I see I have a few new subscribers and likes. I appreciate that. That keeps me going. I really don't get anything out of this other than feeling like I'm giving to you guys and feeling your energy back. So I appreciate that. And I hope you all have a soul-inspired weekend. And I'll see you soon.